Welcome to the Abundance Hack Podcast, where we want to inspire you to push past your blocks, limiting beliefs, and comfort zone to live a confident, happy, and fulfilling life. I am your host, Niajae, influencer, motivational speaker, and boss babe. Every time you hit subscribe or leave a 5-star rating, I do my happy dance. Hey M&Ms, thank you for tuning into the Abundance Hack Podcast. What are you manifesting in your life today? In this episode, I am discussing the fear of success. Yes, you heard it right. The fear of success, not the fear of failure. Would you believe me if I told you the fear of success is way more common than the fear of failure? The fear of success is less discussed and, in my opinion, a little sneaky. So if you know me, I'm sure you know that I like to take on the shit that no one wants to really talk about. But it's so prevalent in our lives, so someone has to say it. So let's dive in. Why are people fearful of success? Why is this a thing? So here's why. If you try something and you fail, you go back to what you know. You may not be happy about it, but you go back to your comfort zone. And this tends to be okay with people because they're comfortable there. But that is not how you succeed and live a thriving life. So if you try something and you succeed, you head into uncharted territory. Things are different. Things change. And a lot of people fear change. So success means change. Even if it's change that you've always wanted, that can be very scary for some people. So depending on the field that you're in, it can mean things like financial and social pressures. It can mean the lack of privacy. It can mean lifestyle changes. So sometimes success means becoming a household name and being in the public limelight. And that's scary for a lot of people because it's forcing them out of their comfort zone. And I say this is sneaky because a lot of people are not even aware of this fear. It can come in a form of procrastination or feeling stagnant or plateauing. I think that life is meant to constantly evolve and you're meant to constantly grow. So if you find yourself just in this space of stagnation, then, this may be something that you should meditate on, take a moment and check in. So I actually touch on this a little bit in my framework, the 5 stages of leveling up. The fear of success is a form of an upper limit. You allow yourself to become successful to a certain point, and when you hit that glass ceiling, you self-destruct or self-sabotage, or sometimes you just plateau and you never get past that point. So my goal is to help you identify your threshold. And if this is a fear of yours, take action steps to transcend it, because we want to grow. We want to evolve. We want to live to our full potential and live our best lives. And for real, not for social media. I always have to throw that in. So here's some ways to identify if you have a fear of success. So full disclaimer before I get into it, success looks different for everyone. So the symptoms of fear of success will be slightly different, but see if any of these resonate with you. You are afraid of spotlight. There's a lot of social pressure and responsibility that comes along with being in the spotlight or being an authority role. You worry about people acting differently around you. So I'll share a personal story with you a little later that expands on that one. You're afraid of the expectations of you and you not delivering. The higher you climb in your career or business, the more people expect from you and the more you expect from yourself. So managing those expectations can be challenging at times. So this is a really, really, really huge one. People don't want to take on that responsibility and the expectations. So yeah, that's a really huge one. The next one is you're afraid of changing. So the reality is you will change, and that is the purpose of life, to grow, to evolve. You don't want to stay the same for the rest of your life. You don't want to stay a caterpillar when you are meant to be a butterfly, do you? Now, side note, I do have a dear friend who actually says, yes, I do want to stay a caterpillar. So I understand that is some people's mindset, but the cost of stepping into their power and going after the maximum happiness and fulfillment has too large of a price to pay for some people. But one of my favorite quotes, I have to say it, is the quote by Anais Nin. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Let me say that again because I love it so much. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So powerful. So that day will come for some sooner than others, but sometimes it takes something drastic in a person's life to make them take massive action towards their best life. Like someone gets sick or like something drastic happens to make people feel like, oh my God, I can't take life for granted. I have to live life to my fullest. I'm going to make this change. But don't wait. Don't wait until something shakes you to your core to make you say, you know what? Let me make sure that I am living each day to the fullest. Let me make sure I am living to my full potential because the universe wants to give you everything you desire if you can release these fears. If you can stop coming up with excuses and talking yourself out of your success. And take massive action towards the business, career, or the life you truly want. So let me say that again. Stop talking yourself out of the success that the universe wants to give you. So the last way to identify you have a fear of success that I have listed here is you are worried about what people will think. People tend to think successful people are greedy, cutthroat, ruthless, evil, etc. Let me offer some perspective here. There are unsuccessful people that are greedy, cutthroat, ruthless, and evil. So success doesn't make you these things. Success magnifies what and who you really are. So let me say that again because it's really powerful. Success magnifies what and who you really are. So if you are afraid of being under that magnifying glass or that microscope, ding, 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 that is a fear of success. Okay, so really let that set in because that is super powerful to understand and process. All right, you know I love sharing my personal story with you just so you know that you are not alone in this and I don't talk about stuff that I have not worked through myself. So my fear of success was around isolation. There's two parts to this. One was negative pre-programming. I always heard it's lonely at the top. So subconsciously, I didn't want to be lonely. And if I believed it's lonely at the top, I basically was saying, I don't want to be at the top, which means I don't want to be successful. So really take a moment and ask yourself, what are your limiting beliefs or negative thoughts around success? This is a great opportunity to journal, write down all of your limiting beliefs, any quotes that, you heard your parents say growing up, statements that you have just adapted and they're in the back of your mind, because these are the things that are standing in your way of you gaining the success that you truly desire. So I had to realize for myself, particularly for this belief, you can be unsuccessful and be lonely as well. You can be broke and be lonely as well. So it's not success is lonely. It's not lonely at the top. It could be lonely at the bottom as well. So one of the things too, just to offer this perspective, like for myself, I'm a very, very analytical person. So I make sure that I dissect and dismantle all of my limiting beliefs. So this is how I broke this down. As people build their business and climb that success ladder, they have a tendency to let their relationships suffer. They stop focusing on nurturing their relationships. So obviously that contributes to loneliness, but that is not exclusive to successful people. So I really had to dismantle that limiting belief that it's lonely at the top. It can be lonely at the bottom. It could be lonely in the middle. So when you really think about some of these subconscious beliefs that we have and you really dissect them, you realize they don't really make a lot of sense, but we have them stored in the back of our minds, and it contributes to our actions and our patterns, and it's what's standing in our way. So you have to dissect those limiting beliefs. The second part of it was I associated success with pain, because some of my most successful moments were sad or disappointing. For those who don't know, I used to sing in my early 20s and I had a song on a radio. It was an Atlanta station, but still a huge deal for me. And I visualized the day my song would be on a radio for years. I would be surrounded by friends and loved ones, and we'd be jumping up and down and dancing and celebrating. And when it actually happened, it was nothing like that. Nothing like what I visualized. I was alone. I called my mom. She didn't answer. I called my best friend at the time. He didn't answer. I called my manager and he didn't answer. So I sat there alone and sad because no one was there to share this excitement and this moment with me. And so I basically was living out my limiting belief that it was lonely at the top. So do you see how the law of attraction works? How our thoughts and beliefs create our reality? It's some deep shit. Like it literally, like when you start to really dissect your limiting beliefs, you see what you're attracting to yourself. You basically want to validate your beliefs, so you attract these situations to you. So that's why it's so important for you to put the time and energy towards doing the inner work to deal with your limiting beliefs and pre-programming, so you're attracting positive experiences to you. Okay, fast forward, I stopped singing, I opened my dance and aerial studio, and I did annual recitals, which were a lot of work. Out of the 5 years of me owning the studio, I believe my family only came to one recital. And if I remember correctly, it was the first recital. So each year they improved and it was more work. So I think it was a little more important each year to me because I put in more work. So I wanted, my family to just see how hard I was working and see this like beautiful thing that I created. So I internalized every person that couldn't make it and didn't take time to ask me about it and watch the video back with me, etc. Like whatever it was, I internalized all of that. So as I transitioned into coaching, I had to peel the layers back to see what was holding me back from gaining the success that I wanted and really taking my business to the next level. So sometimes these memories that we have to dig up are not always pleasant to recall and relive, but it's so necessary because these are the things that are standing in our way. So I had to not only uncover some of my most successful moments, I wind up feeling disappointed for this reason. And so now when I recall my success, I recall disappointment or pain. And we don't want to feel disappointment and pain. So subconsciously, we're like, okay, well, I'm not going to strive for the maximum level of success. Does it make sense, guys? Let me know. Please comment. Please give some feedback because I want to make sure you're receiving this. This is really powerful stuff when you start to deep dive into what is standing in your own way. And a lot of times people say, get out of your own way is something I say often, but really doing the work to understand it is our thought process and our pre-programming and limiting beliefs that are creating our situations. It also was my perception. It was the story that I was telling myself to validate my limiting belief. As my healing process, I had to rewrite that story, not allow this to be a source of pain for me anymore. So focusing on the positives of these events. I had a freaking song on the radio. Like, I should have danced around my house by myself and owned it. So rewriting that story to where I'm not this like sad, woe is me girl because no one is here to celebrate with me. No, celebrating myself because I have a freaking song on the radio, And my recitals were amazing. Like, I'm extremely creative and visual, so I created these really amazing artistic shows. So rather than focusing on the fact that like, they're not here to support me and this person is not here to support me and this person isn't here to support me, focusing on the confidence that I built in my students, focusing on how proud the family members and spouses and loved ones and parents of my students, how proud they were of them at all of their hard work. So rewriting your story to where you are focusing on the positive, and it will work wonders in your life and what you are attracting to you. Guys, I just got chills. Woo! I just got chills. So, and I just said it, but we have to get out of our own way. We have to get out of our own way. So let's break it down. How do we combat this fear of success? I have 6 things here. Number 1, deal with your traumas, your limiting beliefs, and your negative pre-programming. I should just say pre-programming, period, because, I feel like it's lonely at the top is such a general statement. Like, will people think it's negative? I mean, it's subjective, basically, but it's something that you can internalize and store in your subconscious that now creates these blocks. So just like I talk about in another episode, money blocks, if your parents said to you, money doesn't grow on trees, it's subconsciously stored that money is hard to come by. And so reprogramming these thoughts to where they are no longer blocks standing in your way of the success that you desire. So that starts with self-awareness, journaling to identify what negative beliefs you have around success, and then creating a positive affirmation to start to reprogram your subconscious. And if that sounds crazy to you and you're like, okay, I don't even know where to start, like, how do I do this? Definitely reach out to me. This is what I help people with in my new framework and my new coaching program. So I am here to help you dismantle your limiting beliefs. Is imposter syndrome holding you back from taking your business or life to the next level? Is your upper limit preventing you from achieving the success you truly desire and deserve? Because you do deserve an abundant life. Go to Niajae.com/transcend to register for my exclusive masterclass, Transcend Your Upper Limits. Learn how to navigate through the hurdles on the way to the success, the happiness, and the fulfillment you desire. That's Niajae.com/transcend, Niajae.com. It's time to transcend your upper limit. Number 2 is step into your purpose. Step into your purpose. And I know that sometimes that is scary, but it is so necessary to live a truly fulfilling life. And if you don't know what your purpose is, start there. Start figuring out what is my purpose and doing some deep diving, because some people don't want to face this is my purpose because they feel they're not up for the challenge. But if you are given this vision, if you are given this gift, you are also given everything that you need to make this a reality, but you have to get out of your own way. So continually remind yourself that you are part of something larger than you. Your purpose is bigger than you. And that's a humbling thought. That is a humbling thought. And I know, and I'm guys, I'm really honest with you. Like when the first time I received a message from the universe, that like you are a vessel, you are here to serve. I freaking, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Like I did not like it. I was just like, I don't want to be a vessel. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I could laugh about it now because, I've done the work, but no, I really didn't. I'm like, I want my life to be about me. It was very selfish, a very selfish thought, but I had to realize, like, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here, and I have to live out this purpose. And let me just tell you, once I got past my selfish phase and my stubborn phase, and I started moving towards my purpose, I felt it in my body. Like, literally every step I took towards what I felt I was called to do, I felt the tingling in my body. You feel it when you are aligned with your purpose. And that can be scary for a lot of people. So just know that it's not always easy. It's not always pretty. It's not going to be like, glitter and rainbows, which I love, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Okay, let me get back. I go off on tangents sometimes. I think that we have this society right now where we have to, I don't want to say pretend, but we're putting this highlight reel on social media, and when people have feelings and thoughts that are not peaches and cream like what they see on social media, they feel bad. So if you are not fully ready to step into your purpose because you're being a little selfish and you want your life to be about you, you're not alone in that. It's a natural feeling to feel. And I had to go through a phase where like everything I was doing was just for me. Like it was just for me. Like I want this, I want to live here. It was about me, me, me. And then once I received all of those things, I'm like, okay, I have all of this now. And now what? It feels empty. It feels shallow. And I had to do some digging. And when I started moving towards fully committing and stepping into my purpose, I felt a fulfillment that no shallow, selfish, superficial thing could ever fulfill. Oh, all right. Let me keep going. Okay. All right. So that was number 2. A very long number 2. Number 3 is create a success library. Sometimes we lose trust in ourselves, and we have to create something that will inspire us and push us back in the right direction. So create something you can look at that reminds you of the positive impact that you've made so far and others that inspire you. So the reality is sometimes there are not going to be people around to pick you up if you have fallen. And that's just the reality. Like sometimes you have people that are there and sometimes you don't. So you have to create a success library. So if you are feeling down, you have a way to pick yourself up, because the reality is sometimes your family and loved ones want you to play it safe too. They don't want you to necessarily take that risk because they're afraid of you being hurt and they want to protect you. So sometimes you have to light that fire under your own behind, unless you have a super awesome coach like myself, or someone else. Like coaches and mentors are definitely great, like something to motivate you and get that fire, get that fire lit in you again. So number 4 is ditch the excuses. Ditch the excuses. We will make up every excuse in the world to stay in our comfort zone, but nothing magical grows from there. Okay? Nothing magical grows from there. And we are magical manifestors, right, M&Ms? Magical manifestors. We want the magical, yummy, happy, just super amazing, fulfilling life. That's what we're going for here. So number 5 is learn to act in spite of fear. I believe that if it doesn't scare you a little, you're not aiming high enough. So strengthen your action muscle. Strengthen your action muscle. I made that up. So hashtag Niajae quote. So if you're scared, do it anyway. Learn to act in spite of fear. And number 6 is transcend that upper limit. Raise or break through that glass ceiling. Soar through it. Commit to living to your full potential. Commit to living your best life, and not hashtag best life for social media, but for real. Your for real best life when you wake up in the morning and you jump out of bed because you are so grateful and so excited at this beautiful life that you've created and you are madly in love with it. And I say that knowing that nothing is perfect. You're going to have good or bad days. Like, for example, yesterday, I was cranky. I didn't meditate and work out in the morning. And so it affected my mood, but I had to look at it like, okay, I'm cranky, and this would be considered like a bad day because, when you're cranky, things start going wrong. You spill stuff and you stub your toe, and like everything just seems to snowball from, that negative energy. So I had to put myself in check, which I do often, and just be like, you know what? My bad day is honestly better than most people's good day. So here is where I need to stop being a brat and focus on gratitude. And when I tell you, tapping into gratitude is the fastest way to shift your energy. Oh, I just got chills. It's the fastest way to shift your energy because it's so easy to get caught up in like little tiny things that irritate us, but it's so important to focus on gratitude. It's the fastest way to shift your energy and raise your vibrations. And then once I did that, just the remainder of my day was so freaking beautiful. So beautiful. So yes, you have to transcend that upper limit. Be aware of your thoughts. Be aware of your limiting beliefs. Take inventory of what's going on in your head. So when you think about that maximum level of success, and if that creates these little knots in your stomach, take inventory of that. Journal that and really ask yourself why. What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of here? And that can look different for anyone. So whatever it is, just know you're not alone. You're not alone. And these are your challenges to work through to gain that level of success, because the universe wants to give you everything that you desire if you get out of your own way. Woo! I'm on a roll, you guys. I am on a roll. So I want to leave you with this quote. I recently posted this on Facebook, but I want to share it with my listeners just in case you're not following me on Facebook. This is a really powerful quote. I actually don't know where the original quote, like who wrote it. So quote unknown, but it's really, really powerful. If you can't manage $1,000, you can't manage $10,000. If you're not happy on your own, you won't be happy in a relationship. If you don't feel good now, you won't be happy when you get everything that you're working towards. Money doesn't make you good with money. Love doesn't make you love yourself. Success doesn't make you happier unless you are already happy. You are your own foundation. And if that's not solid, nothing else can stand on it. Woo! Do the inner work and build a solid foundation. You know why, M&Ms? Because life is meant to be abundant. I'd love to hear your feedback. And until next time, love and light. Thank you for listening to the Abundance Hack Podcast. Don't forget to leave comments and questions. Remember, every time you subscribe or leave a 5-star rating, I do my happy dance.